Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nick Nice Show. I am your host, Nick Nice, and I'm honored that you chose to join us for yet another episode. We have an amazing episode, as always. They're all amazing. That's why I use the word amazing. We have a great show lined up today. First of all, we got Kissy Lee joining us for this week's Nice Interviews. Then we got the 3 nicest music videos in the game with the Nice 3. And of course, we always say it nicely with Said Nicely. But first, we start with the Nice List.
Part of the task now is to see whether Iraqi leaders are prepared to rise above sectarian motivations, come together, compromise. If they can't, there's not going to be a military solution to this problem.
So last week, President Obama announced that the U.S. has conducted airstrikes over Iraq against terrorist camps to prevent them from advancing on the city and to protect Americans. For those of you unfamiliar with the situation, this group named ISIS have been taking over cities and towns in the northern part of Iraq and basically want to take over the entire country. The weak Iraqi government that we've helped create haven't been able to stop them, and the president felt like we need to assist with joining airstrikes while insisting the U.S. will not go back to war in Iraq. Now look, I don't like the fact that we went to Iraq in the first place, and I'm glad that we've ended the war, but we do have some responsibility for what's going on because we helped cause it and should help at this time. That would be the responsible thing to do. Plus, from what I read, the Kurdish people are key to our interest in Iraq as they have built up a modern pro-Western and pro-American oasis in the Middle East, and that's what we want in that region. So we need to help stop ISIS and hope that Iraq will eventually get kicked to the Kurds. See what I did there? Of course you do.
Before we go, we have talked a lot about Ebola this week, and there's been a lot of fear. I saw tweets wondering aloud if Ebola was going to wipe us out, or if this was the big one.
By now, I'm sure that most of you heard that 2 American doctors were brought back to the States to be treated for Ebola after being affected doing humanitarian work in Western Africa, where the disease has spread and claimed the lives of over 900 people, according to the World Health Organization. Now, I'm not sure who they are, but I believe them. Did you also see what I did there? Anyways, that set off a scare here in the U.S. in Atlanta that somehow the virus would escape Emory Hospital and would spread like wildfire, turning the ATL into another episode of The Walking Dead. Now, honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. And as it turns out, there is no medical cure for Ebola, but the doctors are receiving this experimental treatment and seem to be doing better. Now, I will say this. If Atlanta were ever turned into the Zombieland USA, I get the feeling that instead of it looking like this, it would probably look more like this.
Not too many people get the opportunity to represent your country, and I want to do it proudly. You know, I'm excited to play with some of the great players in the league, and it should be a lot of fun.
So at what seemed like the 11th hour, Kevin Durant announced that he wouldn't be playing in this year's FIBA's World Cup. And I don't blame him because let's be honest, did you see that Paul George injury? Shoot, I'd be scared to walk after seeing that ish, especially in person. And did you see that clip? Don't worry, I'm not going to show it, but man, I felt that itch in my own tibia, you feel me? Anyway, KD cites needing rest and wanting to get ready for the upcoming season, but the streets are saying that he's on the brink of inking a monster sneaker deal and doesn't want to do anything to jeopardize that. Not mad at him at all for that either. The deal was reportedly with Under Armour for $30 million a year, the biggest in the game right now. And if that's true, all I can say is, Kevin Durant, you the real MVP, at least according to that contract.
We escalating up in this bitch like elevators. Of course, sometimes shit go down when it's $1 billion on the elevator. Of course, sometimes shit go down when it's $1 billion on the elevator.
Last week, the internet went nuts when Beyonce dropped a remix of her song Flawless with Nicki Minaj. Obviously, one of the things that caught everyone's ear was Beyonce's mention of the now infamous elevator situation with her husband and sister Solange. Now, of course, sometimes shit goes down when it's $1 billion in the elevator. Did you hear that cha-ching sound at the end, right? Am I the only one that thought that was loose change representing Solange? That's like, of course shit goes down with $1 billion and 23 cents in the elevator. Anyways, a lot's been going on with J&B lately because according to the rumors, people are saying the power couple may be splitting up soon and they're working on putting together a public service announcement. Their concert just came to an end as well, with pictures showing them headed to a much needed break. Maybe during their time away, they'll be able to find a moment of clarity. I really hope the rumors aren't true because who doesn't like to see a well put together power couple? I mean, if there's been one thing I can say about them that has been flawless is how they've publicly handled themselves and their brand. I'm really starting to think they woke up like that. Like, they woke up like that. They woke up like that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Kissy Lee after this.
The Nick Nice Show, sponsored by Audi of America. Truth in engineering.